And that is what it does. Reminder, 5 points the difference. We are still 2 games away, of course, from the halfway stage. City behind Arsenal and 4 clear of Newcastle United. Chelsea stay in 10th. They are 10 points off a Champions League spot. Southampton are 3 from safety, propping up the Premier League with just 3 wins. They're 2 points behind Wolves. And of course, Everton on Wednesday dropped into the relegation zone. That after Nottingham Forest went up to 15 and on 17 points. West Ham are out of the drop zone on goal difference only.
Rating first half, but plan B and the substitutes certainly rang the changes.
Yeah, we didn't play good the first half. It was very slowly, and I'm so sorry for Joao. I asked him to play in a position that they use, but of course the second half, the impact from Rico, mine as well, but especially Rico in our rhythm since the minute 1 was clear.
The changes at half time, were they tactical only?
No, we changed just position players. The rest, the way we played, it was the same. Our press was a little bit different, was better. So yeah, we did. Second half was, I would say, the level we had after the World Cup. We played all the games.
Great celebration from Mahrez's goal, but particularly fond towards Jack Grealish. A wonderful pass finished by Riyad. But what?
They have an incredible relationship between them. They are close friends, and everyone who came in make an incredible contribution to the team.
Let's talk about this title race then. So reducing the deficit to 5 points. How important was the win? And sum up this title race for us this season, because you've won 5 of the last 6, but a new opponent with Mikel testing you at the top. In this new year, how are you seeing it?
Well, they are so strong. So even the game where they lose against United, they were better. So the numbers are incredible in the way they play. The last game against Newcastle, they draw, but they play fantastic. So the important, I would say, after 4 Premier League in 5 years, still we are there. Normally the tips drop a lot after success, and still we are there. It was a week that we could be at 10 points, and now fortunately we are at 5. Still the margin is big, and we have Old Trafford right now. But to start these 3 games in the Premier League so tough, like it's, here Old Trafford and Spurs at home, start to winning is so important.
But arguably the man who made the biggest difference is standing right next to us now. Jack Grealish, congratulations. It was a tight one, wasn't it, Jack?
It was, yeah. I was just saying to Karen then, off air, it was, obviously they've got a few injuries, they had 2 at the start of the game also, so it was one of them games, especially for me sitting on the bench thinking, we could dominate this, and it weren't the case at all. I think it was a tough game. I thought Chelsea would play brilliant, especially in certain parts of the game, especially in the first half. They probably had more chances. But yeah, we obviously got the goal, and after that it was backs against the wall really. So we're just obviously buzzing, to come here and get 3 points, because we know how tough it is to come here. But
it was a very different second half. Was it quite lively in there at half time?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Yeah, it was. Obviously, the manager changed a few things. Had a few words with us, and I think we come out and I think for the first 20-30 minutes, especially in the second half, we dominated, had more chances, and I think obviously once we got the goal, we felt like we had control of the game, but they still had a fair few themselves. Yeah,
well, 1 goal was enough, Jack. You obviously had a big part to play in it with the assist for Riyad, who had also come off the bench. Talk us through your role in it here.
I haven't actually seen it back yet.
You're just staying.
I'm going to praise my cross. Honestly, when it obviously went across the goal, the first time I've looked up, I thought I've played that too close to him. Do you know what I mean?
But Jack, how have you found it at City? You are a player that comes off the line and try to find spaces, and Pepper likes his wide players to stay wide and high and be disciplined and wait for the moment. And you want the ball. How have you found it?
Do you know what? I've said before a few times, it's so much different to what I was used to. Obviously, I don't want to keep going back to Aston Villa, but to what I was used to at Aston Villa, when played for like Dean Smith and stuff, he'd say to me, you know, go and find where you think the weak link is in the defence. If you want to go on the right, in the middle, if you want to hug the touchline, and just certain stuff. You know, at City, at Villa, I always had like an overlapping fullback and stuff like this. So coming to City, I've been at Villa my whole life, you know, and I've never had to change. I've always been used to that. I didn't realise how hard it is, you know, to adapt to another team and another manager. And then when I come here, I'll be honest with you, it was so much more difficult than I thought. In my head, I was thinking, you know, going to the team that I sit in top of the league, I'm going to get so many goals, assists. And obviously, it isn't the case. You know, it's so much more difficult. You know, a lot of teams do tend to sit in against us, which is obviously wasn't the case at Villa. You know, so.
Jack, do you think then in games like this, where it's been tough the first half, actually sitting and seeing the game pan out, coming on as a sub like you did and making the impact, actually sometimes better?
Yeah, obviously, you know, you sit there on the bench and you're watching the game, you're observing it and seeing, you know, what Phil's doing in the top position that I'm going to come on into if I do come on. But you know, I always want to start, of course. You know, every player does. But yeah, listen, I've been here now 18 months and I'm still, you know, getting used to it. I'll be honest with you, but no, I'm enjoying it. Honestly, it's a great group of lads and you know, it's obviously a pleasure to work under Pep.
We saw the goal, your lovely relationship that you got with Riyad Mahrez on the pitch. We love this. I'm fascinated by this in the warm-up always, Jack. Actually, it wasn't your best efforts tonight. It was a bit windy, tonight. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But still.
See, it touches too high, isn't it, there? No, we do it all the time. Do you know what? I'm so close with Riyad and we were warming up together and we were saying to I'd love to come on here, you know, because the game, it felt a bit more open to, you know, we've had games this season against Everton, Brentford, where they've had a back five and, you know, they've like sat in against us. And today, you know, with a back four, and it just seemed a little, like, it seemed so much more games we've had. And we were saying to each other, you know, like, obviously desperate to come on and obviously the manager told Riyad to go and warm up. He didn't actually tell me. So I thought, I'm going to warm up here. I said, I ain't even coming on. And then next thing you know, Riyad was like, Jack, come, we're going on. I was like, buzzing, see you later. So obviously come on and, you know, it was the perfect...
The manager knows you don't have to get warm, Jack. It's just in you. By the way, did you know that you two went to the same school? Little Bird told me.
I know. I've known that for a while. That's where our...
Mr. Sequel.
Mr. Sequel, yeah. That's where our brainy minds come from.
And your footballing ability. Let's put it that way. Jack,
yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We've got to let you go. Well done, mate.
See you later.
St. Peter's in Solihull, shout out for Jack Grealish, the most...
Let's talk first about the impact of that early changes you make for Sterling and Pulisic in the first half, and how was the player now? Do you think it's like serious injury?
Well, we're not. It's too soon at the moment. Raheem just felt his back of his leg when he did a back heel. Strange. It was a strange action, a strange sensation. So fingers crossed. And then Christian had a collision when he was blocking a shot. And again, these things happen in a game of football. So, but they happen early, so we had to adjust a couple of times. But I think you could see from the way the team played. Certainly, first half there was a lot to like. We attacked well. We hit the post. We were brave when we had the ball, and when we didn't, we had to suffer a little bit. But that's to be expected against a top opponent. So, second half, they made some changes. We adjusted a little bit, but probably they started better than us in the second half. Score, but we still have some play as well. And then the substitutions for them helped them. And then we had to freshen up a little bit, which we did. I thought we did, and then we pushed and pushed at the end. You can see the reaction from the crowd. They were, I think, appreciative of the team and the effort, but we're disappointed to lose.
The difference came from the bench, as you mentioned, for Man City. And is that showing us how important it is to have in-depth squad, experienced players overall? And we are in January now.
Well, yeah, but like I said, I think we're in quite unprecedented situation in terms of where we are with our squad, in terms of fitness of the players. So that's affected our squad. You can't squad plan for that necessarily, because then you'd have a squad of 30-odd players, and it's impossible. So again, sometimes you have to not accept it, but you have to deal with it, and you have to stay calm and keep things into perspective and try to keep improving. And like I said, I think it was a step forward for us in terms of our performance today. But when you lose, it doesn't have a good feeling.
After some negative results overall, how you think is possible to turn it around for you? And do you feel the pressure at the moment? as a manager?
Well, there's always pressure at this level. That's how it is when you don't get the results that you want, and that's clear from our perspective. Like I said, we have to take our responsibilities when we're not playing well, and we've articulated that. At the same time, there's also challenges that are there that are clear for us. You want to be judged over a period of time, but however that time is not for me to say. You can see from the spirit of the players, you can see how much they're giving, you can see how much they're trying. There was a lot of positives and a lot of things to like today. I think the crowd appreciated that.
Thank you.
Expensive and the third most capped English footballer of all time in Karen Carney. It's not bad. Jamie snuck on at the end there as well during the interview. What was different when Jack Grealish came on?
I don't think it was just Jack Grealish. I just think the change from City was always going to come. They were miles off it in that first half, and it was a proper Manchester City performance. They changed personnel, but it was still the same setup. But tactically, it wasn't any different. It just felt like those players in the proper positions. But then, you bring him and Mahrez on, obviously quality players, but Phil Foden's a quality player. But what wasn't helpful for Phil Foden was how poor Manchester City were in the first half. So I think if Jack Grealish had been on the first half, it'd have been difficult for him as well, because they just weren't at it at all. But that, I mentioned in commentary, the difference between what we saw a couple of nights ago with Arsenal in what they can do to change it from the bench. That was a huge difference tonight in terms of what the quality they bring off the bench, and that's what won them the game.
Yeah, and when you're struggling and you're bringing these kind of players on, they can lift other players and they can do something brilliant. And when they are hungry, as what Jack just said, hungry that they want to play, they produce, or they want to produce, and it's very interesting that today he gives an assist, but it's only a one-touch assist instead of all the time dribbling and finding the moment. And that's what Pepper wants. Pepper wants him to stay wide and make the difference in the wide area. And sometimes it's just as simple as a first-time cross.
I mentioned in commentary, Bruin gave him the ball and then went on the outside of him. And he mentioned himself there, and he's used to having an overlapping fullback, which almost every team in the world is. But because of the way Pep sort of plays his team, what he does with his fullbacks, a lot of the time when Jack gets the ball, or any City-wide player, but he's 1v1, and they always know he's going to go inside. Yeah. And when you're playing against a packed defence, you normally doubled up anyway. And that's why you do need that overlapping fullback, just to make it almost a 1v1 for yourself. But we know Pep doesn't play like that. So for the wide players, certainly like Jack's type, who likes to go inside, he's always going to go into bodies. And that is a problem, because I think listening to him there, it has been tough for him, and it's difficult to say it's tough at Manchester City, because they're one of the best teams in the world, the football that they play. But it's obvious he has found it difficult to get used to how the Pep Guardiola sets up.
But it feels like he's won the manager's favour right now. I mean, he said before the game that he wasn't starting tonight because he needed to play other players and give others a game as much as anything. Has he had to learn discipline? Jimmy talks about the fact he's got to stay wide. He's a one-touch rather than dribbling.
Well, he just mentioned it there. Dean Smith says, go and do what you want. Go roam, go wherever you want. And you can't do that in this Pep Guardiola team. You have your specific roles. I mean, Haaland, his role is to stay central, come to him set, spin in the box, don't get involved in channel ball. So there's specific roles for every single player, and you have to be disciplined in that. But I couldn't agree more with Jamie, whose right foot keeps coming in. He needed that overlap. And it's something he might have to keep going on his left foot a bit more, Jack. But no, it was good for him to come on, and he looked.
How we especially played in the second half was brilliant, and to come away with 3 points is just what we needed.
There was a huge difference between your performance first half and second half. What made that difference?
I don't know. I think maybe the belief. I think we rushed a lot of our play in the first half and tried to play too many passes, crucial passes that got cut out, and didn't retain the ball as good as we usually do. And we spoke at half time and knew we had to use the ball better and wait for the spaces to open. And credit to Chelsea, they played really compact. We couldn't get many balls through the lines today, and we had to play kind of wider. And it all came together, I suppose, in the second half, and a few big moments where blocks, defending that we've been working on in training, and it came off today.
Certainly came off in the first half as well. A tremendous block from himself on Pulisic, and also pretty cool when the ball came off the post.
Yeah, I felt like I had time, to be fair, so I thought I'll turn out, and then the pressure started to come, and it was a great ball around the corner from Gundo in the end, and we got on a good attack. And I think it's came a bit natural, a good block as well. Tried to show him outside of the goal, and knew he was going to pass it towards the closer he got, and yeah, managed to get a good block in.
You did a lovely pre-match feature with Carl Walker where he said, when you are on it mentally, there's nobody better. Are you in that zone right now? And if so, what's put you there?
Yeah, I feel like I've been in it for the past 2-3 years. You know, just it's kind of clicked as well. I've had to work at my game, and I know we spoke when I wasn't in the team, and it kind of came back and started playing again for over, I don't know how many months or years, whatever time it was, and you know, I've just tried to work at my game and make me a better player and a better person, and trying to give as much as I can for the team as well.
Does this win also as well give impetus in the hunt to chase Arsenal down now?
Yeah, I think, you know, we don't focus on the table so early. I think the manager said before this game there was 66 points to play for, 63 now. There's still a long way to go, and we've got to take it game at a time. And I think in previous years we've gone on big runs as well, winning runs, and you know, we've got to keep the momentum going. If we perform like we did today, I'm sure we'll have a fighting chance towards the end of the season.
Well, you certainly played your part, and that's why you are the player of the match. Well done, John.
Thank you, mate. Cheers, bro.